Okay, so for today's video, I think it's about time we make a return, because I haven't really actually talked about as to why I've stopped playing this character. I think I've mentioned it briefly, but I figured I could take a video and kind of explain why I've stopped playing Jiro. To start, I mean, the short answer, and I guess the easiest way to put it is, like, I think he just doesn't really fit into the current meta. That low defense combined with the Scythe and sword, which is really good in theory, but his signatures don't have that abusability, and so that's what really hurts him, I think. He's not an easy character to play. I think, although I mean, sword, you know, sword is sword, and I do understand that sword is not the hardest thing in the world. The main problem is that, like, not only are his signatures bad, but Scythe itself is very like, there's no true combos. There's really, I mean, on Jiro there is, so I can't really say that, but in general, the problem with Scythe right now is that it is such a hard weapon, and the reward that is gotten out of it is just, it's a good reward, but it really does feel like there are easier weapons that do good into a weapon like Scythe, that have the true combos but also have that string ability. I think the best example here would be like Hammer. Hammer is just fantastic. It's probably at peak better than, I'd say, like, Axe. But even then, with that being said, like, if you just look at the characters that have Axe, for example, right now, their signatures across the board are, they're insane. They're insanely good. Azoth, Barraza, Ulgrim, and I think a good one here would be like Jala. Jala's Axe Sikit is, like, insanely strong, for sure. But I would say almost that it's the sword kit that what makes her, like, really shine. So that's why, I guess, what I mean by, like, when you look at the characters that have Axe in general, their sigs are really strong. And Hammer, that's pretty true as well. Like I said, Hammer, it has the true combos that a lot of Scythe characters lack. Also, not to mention that it, like I said, it does have that, like, super high damage, as well as, like, really good killing with the combos and whatnot, which just kind of outclasses a lot of Scythe right now. I mean, you have other Scythe characters that are super strong, like, signature wise and stat wise. I mean, you have so many Scythe characters that they have they have low dex, and I guess that brings me to, like, stat distribution on Jiro. The low force is whatever. You don't need high force at all right now. Like, force is probably one of the least important stats, but the high dex is kind of, you do gain something from it, but if you do catch that dodge when you are playing a different side character like Mordex, who has 4 dex, you're gonna get the same amount of damage usually. Maybe a little less. It's just a matter of, you're bringing in the variable of, are you going to be getting that person's dodge? So yeah, it's very, it's not arbitrary, because it does have its purposes, and it is very nice when you do hit it, but that is the only thing. I say but that is pretty nice, considering that he is the only character that has the true combos. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe there is one other, but I mean, I feel like I would have known it by now, but there's a chance that, I mean, there's a very likely chance that I'm wrong there. Okay. Also, high speed. The high speed's pretty good. But then you kind of have to throw in a point of, well, Jiro's a what? Jiro's a, at base form, he's a 3 defense legend, which is a nightmare. right now with how Axe and Hammer and Lance are just so good with killing. Yeah, that's such a major problem. To have to play a low defense character that you can't really abuse in any fashion, you know? Like Jala, she has D-Light and Sig, which is incredibly good. I mean, that's the best sword kill combo in the game right now, far and away. I don't know how much earlier it kills. I always ask, and I never get an answer, so I think I'm just going to end up like testing it out myself, because the next earliest one that you can do across the board, I'm pretty sure, is D-Light Dare into Recovery. Oh. Do I get back? I do. Wow, I'm actually surprised. So yeah, like that's just, I mean, that's why you kind of get away, mainly because of the signatures are worth taking the lower defense. If Jala was a character that had lower dex, I mean, she might be, and like the stats were elsewhere, like they were in, you know, she had 1 or 2 more in defense, right? It would be insane. Like we already know that the game with strength and with strength in particular, that like that doesn't, your signatures aren't affected by that at all. Like you can see that with Lucian and whatnot. Like the signatures, oh wow, they are in no way connected to the strength of the character, which they did make a patch like a few patches ago that kind of addressed this problem. You can call it a problem, I guess, but I mean, because now you have characters like Volkov, right? Scythe and Sig is a good example, or Scythe sides, or actually not Scythe, Axe side Sig. When you do the hold version where like you can spike, that both of those hit so hard, or at least N-Sig for sure just hits so hard, and I think D-Sig too on Scythe. It's actually just bananas how hard that character hits. And keep in mind, at a base stat, he is sub 5, which for how hard he's hitting with N-Sig, I mean, you guys have all experienced a Volkov N-Sig at this point. It is so insane. Now, his signatures being fast, that makes sense, because he is that high dex legend. But there has to be some sort of balance. Like I think his Scythe D-Sig, not Scythe D-Sig, his Scythe D-Sig is ridiculous. Like that, even if, you know, it doesn't hit too hard, which it does, and it is fast, which makes sense. It is probably the best. It's like Jiro D-Sig, but if Jiro just didn't move at all and you stood in the same spot. It's literally a better Jiro D-Sig, like far and away. And it might be the best signature to use on Edge in the game right now, just for the amount of like space you can keep from yourself, and you can instantly punish if they try and come up. Like you have to dodge through it. That's the scary part, is you have to do a dodge through it to get past it. Otherwise, like if you don't do like a perfect movement around it, you're gonna get caught, and it's gonna be a bit of a nightmare, because then, I mean, from what happens from there on is kind of like up in the air for sure. Okay, what is going on? I do not miss this map at all, I will say that for sure. Holy, can't get that yet. Oh yeah, I guess another true combo Scythe has is that you can throw them into the wall and get like Dare and Ground Pound. Those are pretty good, and they're reliable once you get used to them. But I mean, that's like a situational type thing. Although when you do hit the Dare, like I said, it's not the hardest thing in the world to confirm. You just have to be aware of when you can. Okay, there's a D-Light Dare that I was talking about earlier. Like, if you can get D-Light N-Sig on Jala consistent, that is, I mean, you're going to be killing earlier than, like, a lot of weapons vertically. Another character, I think that, I guess, is a good example of, like, where strength doesn't really correlate to the actual character itself is Cassidy. That character got, I mean, it wasn't a big buff, but I don't think it's the buff itself. Oh, I tried it. I don't think it was the buff it's like self that was bad, like that +1 damage or something they gave to Ensig. It's just in practice, why are we buffing a character that has signatures that are like clearly need to be toned down? Like signatures, like true combo signatures that are like easy to hit, like stomp Ensig, that sort of thing, they shouldn't exist in the game. That's my opinion. That's, you know, the conclusion I've come to. Maybe others think different. It's just so bananas that exists, honestly. I mean, and that goes for Jalas as well. Like, it just, I don't know. It's a strange logic as to why they even gave her like the buff in the first place. But it will be interesting to see if they're gonna do like some sort of big sig balance patch. They finally addressed Hitori and gave her some signature boosts, and I don't think those were overkill at all. Like it made D-Sig actually feel not completely useless, and then N-Sig got a little bit more of a force touch, which I don't think it necessarily needed. I mean, if all these other characters are gonna remain how they are right now, then yeah, like that's definitely needed if she wants to like continue to be reasonably good. And like Hitori manages as a character, just because Spear does pretty good into a lot of the weapons right now. But and Spear, to be honest, is super undervalued. But that buff definitely like it's definitely like helpful for sure. And I'm just super surprised we haven't honestly seen something for like Jiro. I think his Scythe kit is not that bad, but like his sword kit is just so lackluster. Like D-Sig is the best one on there, I think, and it just feels it feels like it's only good because it's a zero risk thing. Like that, there isn't really any risk associated with it when you do use it, but the problem for me is that it's so slow. Like maybe make it move faster or something. I think his signatures hit just about as hard as they should, but keep in mind, he is, how much dex does he have? He has 7 dex and can go up to 8 dex, can go down, but bottom line, he's a 7 dex legend, and these signatures are like, his side sigs feel like they keep you in there forever, honestly. Not super long, but it's like for how high of dex he is, it feels like it takes a little more time than what you'd think to get out of them, because they hit reasonably, like the way they hit, the strength, it makes sense, but I don't know what they have in store. That's just some of my thoughts. So yeah, let me know what you think about Jiro and just the state of like other characters. If there's any other characters you think that right now have gotten rotated out of the meta just because of what is strong right now. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Thanks for watching.